of the fortnightly series of lectures led by Sheikh Shihad, who has kindly blessed us with his presence for today and the upcoming lectures. We will begin tonight's lecture program with Quran recitation by Mustafa with loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة وفيما تنزل عليهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر صدق الله العظيم सलावात
वो रखा हुआ है माइक का स्टैंड भी रखा है ना पीछे वो हटा के उस तरफ कर दो उसके पीछे आ रहा है उधर राइट साइड से ठीक
है Thank you very much for that lovely recitation, Mustafa. Now I would like to invite Brother Muhammad Ali to recite Hadith Sikisa with a loud salawat.
صلوات بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فمات وإذا بولدي الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا أخي ووصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب وما تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله عليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفازت شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, brother, for that recitation of Hadith Qisar. Now, I would like to invite Sheikh Jihad to begin his lecture tonight on, I believe the topic is why we need religion, with a loud salawat.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام وكفى بها نعمة الحمد لله على منة الولاية وكفى بها منة وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا النبي المؤيد والرسول المسدد والمصطفى الأمجد والمحمود الأحمد حبيبي إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سفن النجاة الأعلام من ركب سفينتهم نجا ومن تخلف عنها هلك وغرق ثم أما بعد. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, my dear youth, assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First and foremost, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the organizing community for availing us of the opportunity to be here together to speak and talk and interact with one another, because the session for tonight, inshallah, is not one way. i.e., I'll be speaking for about 20, 25 minutes, 30 maximum, and then I'll be opening the floor for any Q&A, whether it's related to the topic or unrelated. But bear in your mind that this topic is going to be covered over a period of 4 weeks, all right? So if you feel that I have not done justice to my topic tonight, it's because I have not completed it, right? So, but feel free to ask anything you want in that regard and in regard to any other issue at hand. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Since we are talking about the importance of religion, let me say this from the outset, that today, and in particular our youth, are being targeted in particular, and I would say this openly, Muslim youth in particular are being targeted to dismantle their belief system, completely dismantle their belief system, whether it is over social media, whether it is the written media, whether it is the school system that we have at hand, whether it is in the public arena and the life that we live in public. Everything today is geared towards telling you that you should not believe in a religion, that religion is not something of importance. Why? Because we have people such as Immanuel Kant or Descartes or all these people that say that the moral compass of a human being comes from within. So you do not need an outside force to tell you what is right and what is wrong. You agree with me? Or am I just hallucinating? No, please rebut me if I'm saying something not right, because I want that interaction. So don't wait for the Q&A, all right? In the middle of what I'm saying, I want to see some of our youngsters raise their hand and say, Sheikh, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Whether it's from this side or whether it is from this side. You know, because this way we can learn, we can interact, we can put our, worth of intelligence into the argument so that we can move forward in as far as why religion is important and why do we need religion in our life. And that's why I say perhaps the most frequently asked question by our youth even today and people in general is, why do we need religion in our life? And the argument against religion sometimes can be very philosophical and sometimes can be very trivial. For example, some people may argue that we don't need religion in our life because it's too restricting. Why is it too restricting? Because often we look at religion from a very narrow blinker perspective of religion, as if religion is all about do's and don'ts, right? So the system of what we call halal and haram, I call them do's and don'ts, right? Things that you can do and things you can't do. But mind you, religion is not restricted or restrictive in that manner. In fact, religion is regulative. Do you follow? It's not restrictive, it's regulative. And there is a huge difference between a system that regulates your life to a system that restricts your life. For example, this Clifton Road is a no-through road, right? So if someone tells you you cannot leave Clifton Road by turning right, is that regulative or restrictive? It's restrictive because you're gonna hit a dead end, right? Because it's a no-through road. So if there is a sign that says you can only turn left, that is not regulating traffic, that is restricting traffic, right? Similarly is the case with religion. When it comes to the question of Islam, why does Islam, for example, has a law of do's and don'ts? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala incorporated the do's and don'ts system, was it on the basis of being restrictive or regulative? Was it restrictive or regulative? Example. I gave you an example. Now you have to give me an example. Within religion, how religion is regulative as opposed to restrictive. Yes, brother Hassan. If, for example, right, marriage. Hassan loves this topic, by the way, brother Hassan. If Islam says you cannot have any intimate relationship, not even within marriage, that is not regulative. That is what? That's restrictive. Because you cannot put in me as a human being the inclination towards the opposite gender and then tell me don't go near them. You are restricting my potentials, right? Another example. Allah says you're not allowed to drink anything that takes your mind away. But by the same token, you cannot drink anything else. Is that regulative or restrictive? Restrictive. So you don't want me to drink, what do you call it, madafu, which is coconut juice, right? Or you don't want me to drink mango juice, or you don't want me to drink orange juice, so why create them and put them there in the first place? Now you cannot use the same argument and say, what is the difference between eating grapes and drinking grapes after it's been fermented? Because someone came to Imam Ali, he says, you people are funny. You make things halal and haram according to your own whims and desires. And the Imam says, what is your point here? He says, tell me something. Is the grape halal to eat fresh and from the tree? He said, yes. He said, so if I go and squeeze the same grape, does that then make it haram just because it goes through a process of fermentation? The Imam says, yes. He said, how? He said, simple. This woman in the road, can you marry her or not? He said, yes, she's a woman. He said, when she becomes your daughter, فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. Same species. She's a woman. In one instance you can marry her. In another instance you can't marry her because it will be incest. But it's the same species. So that argument does not carry. Right? Not everything essentially at face value that it can be legislated as halal or as permissible can be permissible outright. That's why we say then religion is regulative as opposed to being restrictive. The other argument that often comes from our children or our youth is that religion is boring. You know, to an extent, I don't blame our youth sometimes. And this is coming from Amama Wera. Can you imagine? I'm going to be slaughtered by the hierarchy tonight. Right? But no, it's truth. It's the truth. If we are to invite our children into our own centers and not take into perspective that our children have potentials other than to just sit and listen to a lecture, where the lecture does not answer their needs in their day-to-day life, or we are unable to create a multi-purpose center. Thank God Muhammadi Welfare Center have created a multi-purpose center, right? In order to take into perspective and into account the needs other than just being in a lecture, right? Because, okay, I brought this youth to a lecture, 1 hour, 2-hour program, 3 hours program, 4 hours program, then what? Then what? I can't expect them to be in a lecture 24/7. So I need to cater for their needs. I need to give them sporting activities. If then, again, the same question comes back to mind. If religion was to be given, or it was to be given to our community or our children and youth in particular as something that it only tackles one aspect of their living, then in that regard, religion has become lacking or answering lacking, right? And we know our religion is not lacking. Imam Ali salawatullahi wasalam alayhi says, divide your day into 3 hours. 3 hours doesn't mean 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It means 3 intervals. 1 interval between you and Allah. 1 interval for your living. And 1 interval for your leisure. For your leisure. Imam Ali salawatullahi wasalam alayhi. Meaning for something to vent. Something that you can be happy about. It's not that being with Allah, it's not happy. That's another level. There are people who are with Allah 24/7. The minute they leave Allah, they become miserable. But that's different. We do not worship Allah at one level, right? We do not worship Allah at one level. But Allah knows our limitation, knows our abilities. The Imam also know that through the medium of teaching from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to them. So they orchestrated how a person should execute his day on a daily basis, right? On a daily basis. So that it does not become boring. So it does not become boring. And one of the biggest aspects and failures of our youth becoming bored is not religion, it's lack of religion. I'll give you an example. You start a journey on the weekend with your children, and you've already planned it. From 10 in the morning until 12, breakfast. This is outdoor activities, not at home. You've promised your kids that this weekend we are leaving the house for the first 2 hours in order to have breakfast somewhere. From 12 to 4, Luna Park. Right? From 4 to 6, high tea. Do you know what high tea is? Okay, a place where they give you 3 tea plates. On the first plate, they give you savory food. On the second, I say, oh, Sheikh, where do you know these things? We read, We read this. Second plate, it has sweets. Third plate, it has the famous. And if you go to a high tea and they don't serve you this is not high tea, by the way. Scones and jam. All right? Scones, jam, and cream. They have to have this as part. So high tea. From 7 to 9, a halal movie. Fine? Is this a full day or not? Full day. What do your children do when they first come back home? What do they tell you? What's the first word that comes out of their mouth? I'm bored. Hell, I've just taken you for a whole trip. I've spent $300. Almost $300, or at least $300. Now, at 9:05, you're telling me you are bored? Why they say that? Because there is something missing in their life, and that's the spiritual aspect of their existence. Because it has not been filled correctly. And if it has been filled correctly, they will not see boredom. Or they will not feel boredom because there is something to fill the gap. Right? Something to fill. But if that person or that son of yours or daughter of yours is 24 hours, what's the name of that game that you want to play and I say you can't? What is it? No, the other one. What is it? Fortnite. Allahu. Wama adraka ma Fortnite. Oh, the youth know it straight away, Can someone these days survive without Fortnite? Disaster. Yet that Fortnite is the cause of many miseries, the cause of depression, the cause of stress, the cause of people going out and committing murders, right? In order to implement what they played. And you think these games have been geared haphazardly? La wallah. They've been geared systematically in order to take you away from Allah and from yourself even. From your own self as a human being, And we think the damage of these games is slight, but it is not. It is actually so damaging that it goes well beyond your adolescent years. It goes into your marriage, and after your marriage, so far as to say that being in these kind of games develops a sense of addiction to them. It becomes addictive. Once I was reading a study about what was the longest time spent playing Fortnite. Do you know how long? Take a number. Guess a number from this side or this side, yeah. A week, no, too much. Okay, let me narrow it down to you. What is the longest Fortnite game that someone has played without a break? 36 hours. 36 36 hours without a break. Can you tell me how this man did it or how this person did it? I don't know. 36 hours without a break. Allahu Akbar. I swear by Allah, if someone has worshipped Allah for 36 hours, he would become a wali. Right? He'll become a saint. You know, almost he would possibly be an infallible. You know, not the infallibility of our imams, but what we call acquired infallibility. You know what is acquired infallibility? One of the maraja of taqleed says that each and every one of us can become infallible. So they asked him how. He said, I'll give you an example. Let's say for 1 week you trained yourself not to gossip. They said, yes. He said, then you become infallible against what? Gossip. He said, now add lying. For 1 week, you won't lie. You become infallible against what? Lying. Add another week that you will not look at haram. You become infallible against haram look. And so on and so forth until you acquire what we call self-implemented, inflicted infallibility. Right? That's how you actually refrain yourself from doing haram. It's a gradual process. You know, the infallibility process, not in the sense of what the imams, salamullah alayhim, have, but I'm saying acquired through a medium of training. Through a medium of training. Just like a muscle. Treat infallibility against haram as a muscle. Right? If you are now to go to Fitness First, you joined, you know, like, but don't be like this, you know, a lady joined Fitness First for 2 years and then she called the owner. He said, I have not lost a single kilogram. The owner said, after you registered, have you been coming to the gym? She said, no, do we have to? Allahu Akbar. So you want to sit at home and lose weight? Achieve. Huh? You want to sit at home? I've registered. That's it. That's enough. I've registered into something called Islam because I was born to 2 Muslim parents, right? But do I implement Islam in action? Do I become Ali-like? Do I become Fatima-like? Do I become Khadija-like? Salamullah alayhim. Do I become Hussein-like? You know? Do I become any of the Imam-like? Or just I've registered my membership with them per se, right? If I've registered myself with them per se, nothing will change in my life. Nothing will actually impact my life unless I ascribe to their lifestyle. You know, there is a story I was reading once, which is incredible. How love can actually be inculcated and followed. Not just simply by lip service, but in every aspect. You know Ammar ibn Yasir. You know Ammar, one of the closest companion both to the Prophet and Imam Ali salawatullahi wasalam alayhi. It is narrated that Ammar was always the first person to pray behind Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wasalam alayhi. No matter what the companions did, they would always beat them to that position behind Amir al-Mu'mineen. So one day they concocted a plan. We will look at Amir al-Mu'mineen when he leaves and we'll start heading towards the mosque to see whether he's going to beat us to it or not. So they started monitoring. You know, by the time the Imam came and they started monitoring him, they bolted towards the mosque. When they got to the mosque, they found that Amir al-Mu'mineen has already arrived and Ammar is sitting behind him. They said, what are you doing? Are you flying? Are you from the people of, they call it Ahlul Khatwa, you know, the people of the steppe? You know, the people of the steppe, those who travel, you know, Tayyul Ard, you know, Tayyul Ard, the one that they can travel the land. Like today they would be here, tomorrow they would be in Mecca. You know, Allah gives them that ability, you know, through the medium of wasila or being, or having a great closeness to Allah. He said, no, none of this. He said, listen, you are confusing us because we'll tell you why you are either doing something or we are not realizing what you're doing. They said, tell me. He said, when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen left the house, we came back and we saw only one set of footsteps. Where were you? He smiled. He said, yes, you're right. There was only one footstep. He said, then where was yours? He said, my footstep was exactly in the same step that Amir al-Mu'mineen was taking. I was following. كنت أتبعه حذو النعل بالنعل. He says, I used to follow him by the footprint of his shoes. That is love. That is love. You know, when you imitate your Imam in every aspect of your life. You know, when Aisha used to speak about Fatima, salamullah alayha, she said, I have never seen anyone that resembled Rasulullah like his daughter Fatima, even to the extent that she imitated the way the Prophet used to walk. كانت تحاكي مشيتها مشية أبيها صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. يعني even the way he takes, you know, the walk, if he leans, if he steps more than one step, whatever he does, that is as far as the superficial imitation and following is concerned, let alone the spiritual, the moral, the social, you know, all this needs to be inculcated within our system. Not just superficial following, you know, it has to be deep. Religion is not fun. You know why it's not fun? Because you've never been given the opportunity to have fun in religion. You know, sometimes we say religion, it's what do you call it? It's like someone, I was in London once, and someone said, Sheikh, can you come and do my, what do you call it? My nikah for my son and daughter. I said, yeah, it's an honor. I will come. He said, all right. So in the beginning of the nikah, I was about to recite the khutbah of nikah. So the host or the MC said, Sheikh, just give us 10 minutes. So why? He said, one of our brothers want to recite musibah. I said, in a wedding? Of course, musibah of Imam Hussein is very important, but not in a wedding. Ya akhi, recite hadith al-kisa. Right? No problem. Recite hadith. But we are prone towards one thing and one thing only, and that is the crying culture. And I'm not against it. I make people cry on Hussein. It's a privilege, right? To make you cry for Imam Hussein salawatullahi wasalam, because there's so much reward for it, right? But did the Imam salamullah alayhim tell us otherwise? Yes, they did. He said, إن شيعتنا يفرحون لفرحنا ويحزنون لحزننا. Our Shias are the ones that feel sad at times when we were inflicted and we felt sad. But also there were times of happiness, and our Shia should express happiness, right? And form that kind of happiness. Rasulullah sits with Amir al-Mu'mineen, they crack jokes. You know that? Wallah, I want you to read a book called Tuhaf al-Aqul an Al al-Rasul. Please read it. I think it's been translated on alislam.org. Record it. Tuhaf al-Aqul an Al al-Rasul. Means the gems of the intellect that has been narrated on the authority of Ahlul Bayt. The gems of intellect. Tuhaf al-Aqul. Okay, what do they say in that book? They say one day Rasulullah was sitting with Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, and they were presented with a basket of dates. So the companions started eating. Rasulullah started eating. Amir al-Mu'mineen is eating. So Rasulullah looks in front of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He finds a pile of date seeds. So he says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, you must be hungry today. You almost finished the whole basket of dates. Look at the amount of seeds in front of you. So Amir al-Mu'mineen looks at Rasulullah, and there was no seed in front of Rasulullah. You know why? Because Rasulullah, every time he ate a palm, he will put the seed on the side of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he doubled his take, right? If Amir al-Mu'mineen was to eat 10 dates, now in front of him there is how many seeds? 20 seeds, because Rasulullah ate 10 dates. So Amir al-Mu'mineen looks at the Prophet and says, Ya Rasulullah, bi abi anta wa ummi. May my parents be your sacrifice. It seems you were more hungry than me. You ate the date and the seed. Achieve, because there is no seed in front of you. Allahu Akbar. Did hell break loose? Did Rasulullah turn to Amir al-Mu'minin and says, how dare you joke with me? No. Rasulullah in the riwayah says he smiled. He smiled. What a crazy joke. It is, isn't it? What an amazing joke by Amir al-Mu'minin. So he didn't offend the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's commenting on what he saw in front of him. So can religion be fun? Yes, within the parameters of religion, it can be fun. It can be fun, and we should introduce it to our children as fun and as happiness. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please help me with the time, because I said I'll speak for half an hour. We'll open the floor for half an hour. Have I exhausted my half an hour or not yet? Almost? Huh? Okay, 9:18 is 30 minutes? Or I have passed my 30 minutes? Another 5 minutes? Okay. Now the time is 9:18. Okay, I don't know what time I started, but anyway. Again, religion does not give you freedom. These are questions that come. Religion is complicated, makes your life very difficult, and the list goes on and on and on and on, right? These are legit questions. I'm not against them. It's not, or it doesn't mean that children cannot ask these questions, right? In fact, they should ask this question in order to find solution as to why they feel that way, right? We should actually, when our children come to us with these questions, not shun them away. Rather sit with them and have a dialogue with them. The common famous story that we've heard it since our childhood, that when Sayyidah Zainab was seated in the lap of Imam Ali, and Imam Ali asked Sayyidah Zainab, do you love me? You're my darling child, do you love me? And Imam Ali said, of course I love you. Sayyidah Zainab was about 5, 6 years old. She said, how can you combine the love of a human and the love of Allah in one heart? Ajib, Allahu Akbar. Imagine if my son asked me this question, what am I gonna do? One of two solutions. Go to your mom and learn some manners. How dare you ask me this question? Who do you think you are to ask me this question? Why are you putting me on the spot? I'm your damn dad. Hello, relax, bro. Relax. So what if you are the dad? Habibi, yes, you have certain, you have certain qualities, you have certain respect, but can I ask you a question as a dad or not? Do I have? Absolutely. I have a right on you to answer my questions, right or wrong? I have a right on you to answer my. Look at the answer by Amir al-Mu'minin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, based on my love to Allah, who tells me to love you, I loved you. Ajib. Thoughts, intellect, clever answers, clever questions, amazing answers, but no shunning away, drawing them towards religion, making religion happily accepted, and inculcated and incorporated in their day-to-day life. They feel such magnificent feeling to be incorporated in the corpus of that religion, right? Imagine, I want to give you this question, and I will end and open the floor for Q&A, because I haven't finished. This is only the introduction, by the way. Okay, so maybe we have to go through Ramadan, okay, with the permission from the administrative committee or the administration of Muhammadi welfare, inshallah. The question that I want to ask, imagine your life without religion. Forget religion. Imagine your life without worship. Allahu Akbar. Wallah, Allahu Akbar. What would you do 24 hours in a day? What are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? You know why others feel so helpless spirituality? It's because the absence of these certain rituals that we perform. Why do you think people always often, when they reach the apex and the penultimate of their peak, financially and socially, they commit suicide? Because they've tried everything and they could not try anything more. Right? They couldn't try anything more. They've exhausted everything within their means and power. I want to be free. Free from what? From morals? Yeah. Free from clothes? Okay. You've been free from clothes. We're free from morals. We're free from restrictions. We're free from regulations. You've done all this, and then what? What is there else to experience? Can you wear 2 suits at the same time? Can you fly 2 planes at the same time? Can you have 2 business class seat or first class seat at the same time? Remember, you've flown first class, or you've been on a business class seat, or you've done everything, or you've gone to Maldives or Honolulu, God knows what, to Lord Howe Island. You've done everything. Then what? Then what? There has to come a time where you find yourself limited. Right? Religion comes to launch you into horizons that are unlimited. Subhanallah. Because it gives you alternatives. It answers the inner call of your spirit. It answers the inner call of your spirit. That's when you realize that what you have, people would pay money for in order to have what you have. I'll end here. Okay? And I'll open the floor for your questions, inshallah, or your, not questions, interactions. Please add anything or dimension or statement to our program today so I can also learn and benefit from your presence tonight. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Allah.